you're gonna obviously remember this Monaro from last week's video, and it's now pretty much finished. Just did a service, taking it for a drive at the moment. Rear bar is back on, and the fuel flap. So tow bar gone, badges back on, painted a couple little bits and pieces, did some fluids, and she's ready to be given away. Now in the meantime, boys at Tough Streeters have called me out saying that I was driving this thing like a little bitch in the last video. And we actually realized it was on low boost. That's why it felt a bit doughy, which was like 10 or 13 pound or something like that. So it should be a lot faster. I have no idea what boost this is on. I don't know how to use these ear boosts, so whatever it's on, no idea. There's only two settings, which I'm assuming is high or low, so it should be high at the moment. Traction off. That is a shitload faster. That's better. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that one in there. Alright, that's a shitload faster. Anyway, that's it. I've had my little bit of fun, so as I said, enter for the giveaway and back to the VL. That I am damn sick of. Which, of course, Rare Spares do a replacement of. So it's this, it's a pretty worn from what I can see inside. I just hope it's not an absolute prick to get out, but it looks like it's just 2 8mm and the pin on the end. But it's, can I get my hand easily inside there to swap it around? I thought that was gonna be a prick, but easy. So a few comments recently have said that it would be good if I explained each thing as I'm pulling it off. For example, how to get this off so that people can refer back to it. So I think that's what I'll try to do. So obviously pin out with just a hammer, and I just use a Phillips head screwdriver. That's the same sort of size. Pliers, pull this boot out, and you'll see, or you can't actually see unless you've got a really small head, 2 8mm inside here, which you can just feel and get your tools in there. And then this should pop out from inside the door and pull out through here. You know, you'll have to get the door as far open as it will go and use a little wiggly bit on the end to get the 8mm out, because it's sort of around the corner here. So, there we go. Now let's compare it to the new one and see how stuffed this thing is. Alright, so here is new versus old. New obviously on the left, but as you can see, no movement in this whatsoever. So you could say that that is possibly what that noise is. That is gone. If I can give any advice when doing this, make sure you look at which way you pulled the old hinge out, because it can go both ways. Lucky, you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right, and I guessed right. Easy, 2 8mm back in behind there. You will need your wiggly bit again. Put the seal back on, obviously, before you drop the pin in, then pin from the top, hammer it back through, and like brand new. I'll probably end up doing the other 3 doors, but that was the main, well, the only one making noise, but it actually feels a million times better, so I think I might do the rest, but they're not cheap. They're $100 each from Rare Spares, those hinges. So here is this week's selection of parts. moving on to the front end. Now, not everything will get done in this video because I want to send a couple of things off to get powder coated so they're sort of nice when they go back in and sort of never have to come out again. So what we have this week is I've got a couple of different sizes of the spring insulators for the back to raise it up a bit. So I've got some really big ones, which we had at work. I've got the thin ones for the bottom, which I just want there for noise, and some upper ones that are sort of in between the bottoms and these. I think this set here will be the go. I think this is a bit too big. This thing will be sky high if I put these things in. Some front king springs. These are one down from low. Got some brand new front control arms because, again, by the time you buy these ball joints, this bush, repaint your arm and remove all the old stuff and put all the new stuff in, it's so not worth it when you can just buy a whole arm brand new. There's some bushes that still haven't come. So I've got rear sway bar end link bushes, front sway bar end link bushes. These are front sway bar D bushes. And these are the front strut bar, I think they call it, a caster rod to the K-frame. These are going to be a prick, I think, or on the ground anyway. So current height from the ground is pretty bang on 23 inches. So we'll see how much this raises the back with the spacers. So I was hoping I could get these in without even taking the wheels off and just jacking it up, because these usually come loose, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. So undid rear shocks to drop the diff as low as it could go. Obviously these small ones go in the bottom, spring locates in here, and top ones obviously go in the top, and spring locates again, like so. So I'll quickly bust out the other side, jack her back down, and see if this made much of a difference. So before I put the back down, I'm going to pop out this sway bar as well, because it's one of the things I'm going to get powder coated, as well as these brackets. So just 13s here, top and bottom. Now why these aren't tacked or welded to the diff so you can just undo them without a spanner on the top is beyond me. So when I have the diff out of this car eventually, even though it probably won't be this diff, one thing, tack the damn 13 mils for the sway bar, and 15s or equivalent, whatever. Again, got to hold them from the top, unfortunately, up here, and drop this whole link out, and the sway bar should just fall out. The rear sway bar out, so I'll get this powder coated, because why the hell not? The bushes are actually not too bad, they're just a bit dry and sort of starting to crack, but nothing serious. This is pretty cool. Holding part number, which unfortunately is going to be gone. But anyway, we'll put this down and see what the height's like now. I almost forgot these rear sway bar end links that were still in the car, but 15mm ratchet spanner on the top, shifter here to hold it. A bit of a pain in the ass on the passenger side because the exhaust is there, but to replace the top end link bushes, you got to pull them out. So, and yeah, these are pretty stuffed. They're all split, deformed, cracked, very dry, like a rock. So we've got new ones of them too. So before was 23 inches spot on. It is now just under 24, like 23 and 7/8. So we've gone up 7/8 of an inch, and I like it. Now hopefully with these front springs, leave the front height as it is. I'm hoping, because the front's perfect. It's a little bit higher than the back now. It's exactly what I want. Moving on to the front now. Again, chopped bullshit in the front, so that's coming out. I just noticed these are split, so I might get some new thyroid ends. Sway bar bushes gone. These bushes gone. Who knows what they're gonna be like. And these ones in there. Everything's coming out. I forgot to mention I got some new front shocks as well, which aren't here, which I got at work. They're the matching to the rear, so they'll have those same shocks all around. Were they KYBs? I can't even remember at the moment. Here we go, let's pull this whole front end out. So I wanna pull the sway bar out first, but to make it easier, I'm gonna pull this out first, because to get to those easier. Now this is a 24, as you can see, so don't be caught out like I was on the VN and had to go buy a socket. If you're gonna do stuff like this, make sure you got a 24mm socket. So 2 9/10s on the back of the caliper. Tap the brake line out of the strut. Hang it up so no one on the internet complains. 24 on the caster rod. 19 on the tie rod end. Now since the tie rod end, which was about half an hour ago, that's how long it's taken me to get this ball joint to pop out of the knuckle, and absolutely mangled this, so I don't know how the hell I'm gonna get it off. But I don't know if my sockets are stuff, but this was a 7/8, and yeah, to get it to pop, I've been CRC smashing both sides for half an hour now, and I just resorted to smashing the top. But now I can't get the nut off. I think I'm gonna have to cut it or cut the ball joint. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Well, what a mission. I ended up having to cut the castle nut and then chiseling it to split it. So I got that off, but then the top of the ball joint was mushroomed. So I had to smash it down as far as I could with a hammer and then sit this extension in there and smash the extension down to force it out through the bottom of the knuckle. What an absolute mission. 3 13s on the strut tops, 2 13s for the front sway bar. This back one you'll have to get with an open-ended spanner to crack it and then a ratchet spanner to undo it if you want to take it out, or if you want to just slide it forward. And because this D-bush mount has a slit in the back, you can just sort of crack the nut and slide it forward to get it off. Now these are the same as the rear, so you got to hold it with a shifter, 15 from underneath, and then to get the top one off, exactly the same, 15 from the top and hold it here. 19 on the LCA to the K-frame. So that is it. Everything is out, and boy oh boy is my body aching. This was an absolute nightmare. Everything just rusty, filthy, stuck, stripped, everything you can imagine. Now I reckon I'd be pretty silly to not clean in here and repaint pretty much exactly how I did on the VN with the same stuff, so I reckon I'll do that as well. I'm not gonna have time to show everything going back in this video. There's no chance I'm gonna have time this week. Here's everything that came out, so this will all go to work, everything get cleaned. We got the ultrasonic there, so swap the springs over because I don't have spring compressors, clean, paint, re-bush, re-ball joint, whatever I can at work, because it's a lot easier there. And then put it all back together. And can you believe I even managed to get a factory battery clamp? And yes, before anyone points it out, I know the yellow and blue battery is going in the near future. I'm pooped, so see you guys next week.